What up, FGC? This is iZonk. With all the recent discussion about who should make the Street Fighter 6 roster, I've decided to make a short series which will feature 2 characters per episode. I will present their storyline, their overall aesthetics, and my opinion on who should be back. But now it's up to you to let YouTube know. Who do you want back in Street Fighter 6? In the second episode, we're gonna look at the 2 premier boxers of Street Fighter, Balrog and Dudley. We're gonna start with the lore of both fighters, and we're gonna start that with the Balrog. He has the longer history within Street Fighter. He came up on the streets in poverty, taught himself how to box, had a lot of talent, but he also killed somebody in the ring, he did headbutts, and he was expelled from boxing. Well, Bison of course saw the value in that, and he hired him for Shadaloo. And Balrog is basically always the hired muscle and goes for the money. So he first surfaces in Street Fighter Alpha on the timeline, where he's ordered to hunt down Birdie. He does so, and Birdie convinces him that they should work together because Bison has a powerful psycho drive, a mysterious energy source that he uses to gain even more power. Well, Balrog of course sees the value in that, and he agrees to help Birdie, but Bison in the end is defeated and the energy source is destroyed. So in Street Fighter 2, Balrog is back to his position within Shadaloo, and he joins the Street Fighter tournament. At the end of the tournament, Bison gets killed by Akuma, and Balrog briefly takes over Shadaloo, and he completely runs it into the ground. Like, the entire organization crumbles to pieces. So yeah, Balrog is not a born leader. As Bison returns to Street Fighter 4, because he never really dies, Balrog also returns to Shadaloo, and he's hired once again after a brief stint as a security guard. He's ordered to protect the dolls. These are brainwashed young girls that were captured by Shadaloo to become assassins. However, Balrog finds it a bit boring and he leaves his post to once again chase some money scheme. And of course he fails, but as the game ends, he encounters a young boy that asks for his help. And then later on it turns out that this young boy is Ed, who will become his apprentice. A couple of years later in Street Fighter V, Balrog is back with Shadaloo, and he has an older Ed under his wing. And it turns out that Ed was created to be a replacement body for Bison's powers. Together with Ed, he's ordered to steal the chess pieces, and he does take one from Zangief, and he needs those chess pieces to power up Bison and make Shadaloo into a powerhouse once again. But later on he loses the chess piece to Ibuki and Mika, and as the entire scheme falls apart and Bison loses once again, the entire base is seen crumbling to pieces, and Balrog leaves with Ed, and he's a gun for hire once again. As we shift to Dudley, we see a completely different character from Balrog. Dudley is a very classy, rich boxer from Great Britain, and he doesn't get along with Balrog at all. He looks at Balrog and sees a brute, somebody who's not a real boxer. Dudley himself, he is the son of an athlete who turned into a businessman, a wealthy businessman, and Dudley really respects his father. As he grows up, the business of his father falls apart, and Dudley seizes the opportunity to dedicate himself to boxing completely. He quickly starts winning a lot, and he regains the wealth that he lost and that his family lost after his father passed away. So Dudley inherits the Rose Garden from his father, but he also inherits the car of his father, and that car means the world to him. However, later on in the story, the car is stolen, and Dudley is asked to join the Street Fighter 4 tournament by Seth. He receives the invitation and Dudley decides to accept it. It will take his mind off of the car for a moment. So even though he doesn't win the tournament, he is very satisfied with his performance, and as he returns to England, he is happy about the experience he gained from traveling around the world. Now later in the timeline, Dudley is back for Street Fighter 3, where he once again enters the tournament, and he has the opportunity to win back the car that he lost. He learns that the car was stolen. It was taken by Gil and the Illuminati. And Dudley doesn't defeat Gil in Street Fighter 3, but he does gain the respect of Gil, and Gil orders Colleen to give back the keys of the car. So Dudley returns home, and he's very happy. He finally got the car back, and he's pleased to learn that once he gets back, he's invited by the royal family of Britain to show off his boxing skills in front of them. So when it comes to the story, Balrog has the larger history, but Dudley is the character who is much easier to relate to. And let's look at the actual gameplay. Dudley first appears in Street Fighter 3 and later in Street Fighter 4, and his fighting style really resembles his character. He has the rose with him, he dances around his opponents majestically, and he has a large arsenal of command normals and target combos, which give him a lot of juggle potential. He also has a great high-low game, and he can even combo into his super in third strike from an overhead. So his mix-ups are deadly, he's fast and agile, and he's quick to hit his opponent with a patented jet upper. Now if you compare that to Balrog, his aggressive personality is also reflected in his fighting style. He has an infamous dash punch that is fast and when spaced well is also hard to punish, so he will keep pounding you until he finds that one hit. In Street Fighter V he also has a very dangerous V system. His V-Trigger 1 carries his opponent's full screen, and his V-Trigger 2 gives him access to a command grab, where he grabs his opponent and slams him to the ground. So when I was researching their lore, I was surprised to find out how easy it is for Balrog to fit into any story. He has ties with Shadaloo and the Illuminati, he's the mentor of Ed, who also might return in Street Fighter 6, but Dudley is the character who was not in Street Fighter V while being heavily requested by the community, so I think he's the one to make the base roster, but that definitely does not exclude Balrog from a DLC entry. So if you like this content, give the video a like and let me know in the comments who you prefer, and please hit up the channel with a subscribe so I can make the next video for you. Peace.